Everybody, I'm Joe Klemczewski with Adam Atkinson, Contest Prep University, episode 3 in our series, How to Win, specifically for women's bodybuilding competitors. And we're into a segment on contest prep. And very much like training, when I mentioned, Adam, that it's just pedal to the metal, we want it all. These women have to maintain size, they need that muscularity, but they need to get the ultimate in conditioning. There's no ambiguity there. This is not, hey, is it bikini? Is it figured? A little soft, a little not. Like, it's just, you need it all and you need all of it. So I have a world champion level natural pro bodybuilder, and we are getting ready for kind of end of the year type work. And it comes down to that. Are we going to miss the mark on conditioning? We know you've got the size. We know you love that part of the game. So can we get there? When you go back to the beginning of engineering a full contest prep, the difference between a bikini competitor, for example, and let's just say wellness and figure, just anything non-bodybuilding versus women's bodybuilding, what is your first mindset? What do you articulate to a female bodybuilder that's different from other women's divisions?
Yeah, I would say that end of the road health, you know, uh, even if they're natural or not, you really want to make sure that they're in a great position to prep. Are calories high? What's mentality like? Is cardio relatively low? Do we feel like we have a lot of room to make the best conditioned physique? Because if you come up short on conditioning and bodybuilding, you may as well not even get up there. Also, if they're on PEDs or you get any kind of blood work done, you're going to have a long road ahead on, what might come. So just kind of having that test don't guess mentality is really important with enhanced women.
I'll say for my IFBB pro competitors, and I've had a couple pro women bodybuilders that I've gotten top 5, top 10 in the Arnold Classic and the Olympia. And what is difficult for me going between those two different worlds is because there's so little room for error as a non-enhanced athlete. When you get to the PED side, I think maybe pre-coaching era, there was just a lot of looseness. Like, well, here's what I'm doing during the week, and then I have a cheat day or a cheat weekend, or there just is not. There's almost a reliance on this will all come together at the end. Like I'm in the process, I'm doing the best I can, and I know you and I are very meticulous. Like that's not how we operate. We want to control those variables. We want to, like you said, test not guess. We want to know exactly where we're going to be and why, especially since you are relying on us. You've hired us as coaches. So speak to that a little bit if you can about, how do you get somebody to realize that this is absolutely going to come down to the details, like in football, a game of inches. This is a game of millimeters when it comes down to a big win.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the ultimate level of conditioning that comes down to your hormones and your internal health as well. The more stress your body's accumulating, just the less you're going to lose. So, if you're battling a health issue or a gut issue, it just really stresses and taxes your body. You only have so much energy to divvy out towards prep. And if you're just not your best internally, mentally, physically, it's just really going to come down to that fine-tuned wire. But if you look at hormones in general, if they maybe have crashed estradiol from their last cycle, you're just not going to mobilize body fat like you should if you're at a healthy level of estradiol. And that's probably the biggest mistake I see with female bodybuilders, because most of the orals are DHT based, which does drive down that estradiol a bit. So then they're struggling to lose body fat and they don't know why.
You're making me think of two clients, one who just started with me and the one who requested this series. And, both of them, well, I should say they're both kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum in metabolic capacity. So one really needs to cross all the T's and dot all the I's when it comes to body fat loss. The other one seems to be a little bit more ectomorphic, and it's, we're going to get lean, but it's now about muscle retention. And so when you and I are, of course, big on being ready early, making sure that you have a minimum effective dose mentality when it comes to calorie deficit and cardio. Um, are there times when you just have to kind of throw that out the window and it's just like it's pedal to the metal? This is going to be suffering. It's not going to be fun, but you can get there.
Absolutely. And I think there's the bad thing about that is I'm glad you brought that topic up. There's just predatory coaches out there that I mean, we see it all the time in the lifestyle coaches who are begging for clients. Well, how do they keep from going in debt? They say, "Oh, never diet between like below 12,000 or 1,200 calories." And they're like, "Oh, finally got one." Well, that's probably the client I don't want because they just negotiated with themselves that this person can make them better on a higher amount of food. I'm a coach, not a magician, and there are things like diet breaks. I'm not saying I'm just going to run somebody into the ground, but a lot of people put stuff out there because it's sales at the end of the day. And man, prep's hard enough. And now when you have all these coaches saying, don't do what you're doing, it kind of talks you out of your champion mindset. And it talks you out of communicating with your coach because you just like complete stranger get into your head and tell you what you're doing is wrong.
Literally dealing with this right now with one of the competitors in 30 years. This is somebody who's got one of the best physiques I've ever seen. And there's some underperformance because she's comparing her journey to what other coaches have said, exactly like you said. And it's tough because like I know what you could be accomplishing and you are getting in your head. But let's turn toward our last two topics. We're going to cut this episode off here, and we're going to move into now peak week and contest day. So you women bodybuilders, don't go away. We'll see you next time in Contest Prep University.